Hey guys, congratulations, first of all, on getting through your first set of mastery problems. Awesome job. You're now ready to start lesson 1.3 in Unit 1, which is all about the distributive property. Now, I know you've heard of the distributive property before, so hopefully this is a review. Your goal, your aim, is that you can find products using the distributive property. Now, products means what? It means you're multiplying. So you're looking for things that multiply using the distributive property. In the last lesson, we saw the important properties of addition and multiplication, the cumulative and the associative. The last of the three major properties combines addition and multiplication. It's the distributive property. The first exercise is going to illustrate the idea. So exercise 1, consider the product 4 times 15. A says evaluate using the standard algorithm. Algorithm is a fancy word basically saying the standard way. Right? The standard way 4 times 15 is done without your calculator. So, color. If I do 4 times 15, I learned it as you set this up. You do 4 times 5 and get 20, so the 0 goes here, the 2 goes up here. 4 times 1 is 4, and then you do plus 2 and get 6. Right? So 15 times 4 is 60. That's the standard way we learn in middle school, or in elementary school even. So let's go to letter B. Represent the equivalent product 4 times parentheses 10 plus 5. Okay, an equivalent means the same. Represent the same product, 4 times 10 plus 5, as repeated addition of 10 and 5. Repeated addition means that you do it over and over. You repeat it. So I'm going to say 10 plus 5. And how many times am I repeating this? What is this being multiplied by? 4. So it's 10 plus 5. Plus 10 plus 5, plus 10 plus 5, plus 10 plus 5. This is a little time consuming. I got to go through here and say, okay, well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 10s, so 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 40. All right, I added all the 10s. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is, well, I'm going to do this one at a time. 5 plus 5 is 10, another 5 plus another 5 is another 10. 40 then plus 10 plus 10, 20, and then I got 60. Wow, that kind of took me a long time to get that 60, right? But this is saying is 4 times 15. Isn't 10 plus 5 15? So it's really saying 4 times 15, but we just broke it up into addition, right? So how can we do this quicker if I've got to multiply a number by some form of addition? Because this took me quite a while. Well, we're going to use the distributive property. Exercise 1 shows the important property of being able to apply multiplication to parts of a sum. Sum means addition. Okay? All parts of a sum. In symbolic form, and this is math language, it's like this. If A, B, and C all represent real numbers, then if you have something that looks like this, A parentheses B plus C, it's going to equal A times the first number B plus A times the second number C. We call this the distributive property, and I like to use arrows. Notice it's A times B, and then A times C. You're distributing. So, and this is an act of multiplication. So I'm going to write this. It's an act of multiplication. You're multiplying here. It's an act of multiplying. So let's take a look at letter A. Or sorry, exercise 2. Exercise 2 says evaluate each product by using the distributive property. So you need to use the distributive property to make it easier, right? Because we don't want to take the long time we took before. Okay? Now, this right now says, well, if I just do 7 times 23, that's just as difficult as that first problem, right? How can I break the number 23 up where I've got two things added together? Well, how can I break 23 up? What about 20 plus 3? Isn't 20 plus 3 the same as 23? Yeah. Now let's try distributing to both these numbers. I'll do 7 times 20 plus 7 times 3. What is 7 times 20? Well, 7 times 2 is 14. Add the 0, 140, plus, what's 7 times 3? 21. 140 plus 21 is 161. That's much easier than me trying to do 23 times 7, okay, carry the 1, do the 2. This is messy. It takes too much time. This is much easier because 20 and 3 are much easier to work with. And that's what the distributive property is trying to do. It's trying to ease your work. Now, letter B here says, on B, express 18 as subtraction. Do not use a calculator. So let's take this 18, and what might be an easy way to show 18 as subtraction? Well, I'm going to go to a whole number, 20, I know is bigger than 18, and what do I take away from 20 to get 18? 2. Do you agree that 20 minus 2 is 18? I certainly hope so. Okay, now we can distribute. Same way we did before. 9 times 20. Now the only difference here is I have a minus sign. That's okay. I'm going to say it's plus 9 times negative 2, right? Or, if you don't like that way, you can say that it's minus 9 times 2. Either way will give you the correct answer. 9 times 20, 180, minus 9 times 2, which is 18, and you can put this in your calculator if you like to make it easier, is 162. And if you want to test this by, doing this on your calculator, and saying that 18 times 9 is 162, it absolutely is. You could also check your work by saying, hey, what if I showed 19 or 18 as addition and said 10 plus 8? Would I still get 162? Well, let's see. I distribute the 9 times the 10 plus the 9 times the 8, which is 72. Oops, sorry, let me rewrite that. Plus 9 times 8. So I get 90 plus 72. Then that is 162 as well. So you can see that no matter what numbers I picked, as long as it equals the 18 here, we're good. Exercise 3. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, and we're going to focus on this a little bit in this unit, where we're talking about using distributive property twice. The distributive property can be used twice in order to multiply two two-digit numbers. For example, find the product 12 times 28 by evaluating 10 plus 2, which is 12, and 20 plus 8, which is 28, which are the original numbers we had. Show each step in your calculation. Do not use a calculator. So I'm going to rewrite this. I always rewrite if I don't have a lot of room. I'm going to rewrite, and I get 10 plus 2 times 20 plus 8. I'm rewriting. Double distribution says that I'm going to take first, I'm going to use colors to highlight this. First, I'm going to distribute the 10. There's the first thing. So I'll have 10 times 20, right? That's the first one, 10 times 20, plus, what's my second one? 10 times 8. Okay, this is my first distribution, right? The first one. The second one, I'll use a different color to show as well, is starting with the 2. 2 times 20 and 2 times 8. So plus 2 times 20 plus 2 times 8. This is my second distribution. And now I look at all 4 of these distributions independently. Okay, so 10 times 20, let me get back to my purple. 10 times 20 is 200, that's this right here, plus 10 times 8, which is 80, plus 2 times 20, which is 40, and then finally 2 times 18, which is plus 16. Okay, now I can add all of these together. 200 plus 80 is 280, plus 40 plus 16 is 56, and doing a little mental math, 280 plus 56 is 336. Okay, so that's the idea of double distribution. I'm going to show you other ways of doing this later in the unit. Okay? Okay, the distributive property can also be used on expressions that involve variables. So far we've only worked with numbers, right? I haven't done any work with variables yet, just these numbers. So let's take a look here when we have variables. This says express the following products as binomial expressions. A binomial is anything with 2 terms. Binomial comes from the word bi, which means 2. So if you think of a word like bicycle, a bicycle has 2 wheels. So bi means 2. So that's the kind of thing they want us to distribute into. So let's take a look at letter A. I've got 5 times 2x plus 3. I see parentheses. Parentheses are a big clue that I need to distribute. So I'm going to see 5 times 5 times 2x plus 5 times 3. So 5 times 2x, that's my first distribution, plus 5 times 3. Now, when you are multiplying a constant by a variable, it's actually quite easy. You only have to multiply the coefficients. I'm going to show you what I mean. You only multiply the numbers. Leave the variable. Okay? That's your clue here. Only multiply the numbers, leave the variable. I'm going to rewrite that because that's kind of confusing. Leave the variable. So what does that mean? That means for problem A, I'm going to have 5 times 2, which is 10x, plus 5 times 3, which is 15. And that is my final answer, because look how many terms it has. There's one term, there's two terms. So it is, in fact, a binomial. Okay, let's take a look at B. If you want to try it on your own, please go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own to see if you're correct. That's always great practice in these videos. B, I have negative 4 times 5x minus 8. I'm going to distribute the 4, and I get negative 4 times 5x. Now watch your signs here, okay? This is the same as saying plus negative 4 times negative 8. Be very careful. Watch your signs, and I'm going to write that here. Watch your signs. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. Bring down the x. Plus negative 4 times negative 8 is a positive 32. So that is my final answer. It has two terms. Okay. Letter C is a little different. Letter C requires us to remember some work from middle school. I still distribute here. Oops, I still distribute, only now I have this x times x plus x times 4. Now if you remember from middle school, when you multiply something times itself, that's when you get that exponent. X times x is x squared. Plus x times 4, we don't write this as x4, we write it as 4x. So we're remembering that from middle school. And finally, letter D, 5x times 2 minus 7x, same thing, distribute. We're going to have 5x times 2 minus 5x times, actually, let's keep with the plus 5x times negative 7x. Remember, keep that negative with the number. 5x times 2 is 10x. Plus, now be very careful here. When you are multiplying 5x times 7x, you multiply 5 times negative 7, then you multiply your x's. So 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. And what is x times x? X squared. Okay, we don't leave a plus and minus sign here, so I'm going to rewrite this as 10x minus 35x squared and drop that extra plus. Okay, take a minute, write down notes. Remember, you can always come to me in class after you're done watching this to ask clarifying questions if you're confused. So don't worry too much if you're confused right now. That is what I'm here for, what Ms. Vasquez is here for, what Ms. Sammer is here for. Okay? Moving on to the last part of this lesson. Okay, and this might be a little new, so I want you to take your time and listen really carefully, because this is distributive property, but now we're going to start thinking about distributive property in terms of division. So let's read, because we're always going to read. One common mistake students make is not realizing that the distributive property works for division as well as multiplication. You are very used to seeing the distributive property with parentheses and multiplication, but it can be really useful in division. So here's what it looks like in symbol form, and I know symbol form, this is symbol form. I know it can look really confusing with all the letters, but here's what this says. It says, if A, B, and C all represent real numbers, meaning like 2, 3, and 4, they're real numbers, then if you have two numbers added on top divided by one number, you can basically distribute the bottom number. You can distribute that bottom number. That's what this is saying. See how the A went into two different places and split up the B and the C? That's what this rule is trying to say, and I think that you'll see it best in an example. So exercise 5, express each of the following quotients. Now, what does quotient mean? It means, I hope some of you are saying it to yourselves, the quotient means that we are saying division. Okay, so express each of the following division problems, because notice they're all division problems, as binomials, meaning we want two terms, in simplest form, meaning we can't combine them anymore. Show your calculations. Some of your final answers will contain fractional coefficients. So that means that you are thinking about fractions. Fractions are okay. So let's take a look at A. A, 8x plus 4 divided by 2. If I think of my rule, that means I can take the 8x and divide it by 2, plus, let's separate the 8x and the 4, and put it also over 2. Notice how that mirrors what's happening up here, right? I took the first number, divided it by the bottom, and then plus the second number and divided it by the bottom. Okay, and now this becomes a little easier. When I see this 8x divided by 2, what is 8 divided by 2? It is 4, and just bring down the x. Plus, what's 4 divided by 2? 2. And I've simplified that division problem. Something that looks very scary suddenly became a lot less scary by using the distributive property. Try B on your own. So pause the video, and I want you to try B on your own. It's okay if you don't get it right, but I'd really like you to pause, try it, and then unpause when you're ready to watch. Okay, so this is going to be 25x over 5. That's my first number, so I'm grouping these. Then I'm going to do minus 50 over 5. Watching my sign. This will simplify to, what's 25 divided by 5? 5, bring down my x. Minus 50 divided by 5, I'm going to put that in my calculator, and I get 10. Or I could do it in my head. And that is a binomial, and it's simplified. Okay? Oops, I didn't make a mark. Still getting used to Smartboard on my tablet, so bear with me when I make these crazy marks on the screen. Okay, letter C. 2x minus 16 over 4. Let me get a different color for you. How about green? So, same thing. I see it. I can separate those two numbers on top. I can get the 2x divided by the 4. Notice I have a minus sign, and then 16 divided by 4. Now, in your calculator, I want you to type in 2 divided by 4. And what do you get when you type that in? Take a second to put it in your calculator. 2 divided by 4. You should show up with 1/2. Your calculators will do fractions for you. Use your calculators for fractions, please. They will do it for you and you won't make a mistake. So this becomes 1/2. Bring down your x. Minus 16 divided by 4 is 4. I'm going to leave it just like that. Like the directions said, I will see fractions. Finally, letter D. Pause the video. Try it on your own. Okay, let's see what you got. You should have separated the 9x and the 12 as 1, had an addition symbol, and then separated the 18 and the 12, and then use your calculator to type these in. Type in -9 divided by 12 into your calculator, and you should get -3 over 4. Bring down your x, bring down your plus. 18 divided by 12 is 3, what is this? This would be 9 over 6, so 3 over 2. That's what you should have gotten in your calculator, and that's your final answer. Notice all of your final answer are binomials, so you followed the directions, and you kept your fractions like in the directions. That is the end of lesson 1.3, distributive property. Go ahead and get started on your fluency.